If I knew this at one time, I'd completely forgotten about it until now. Bubble levels are called whiskey sticks because they used to have spirits in them. We could go down a complete rabbit hole on how early humans were able to level and plumb the things that they built. I think most people are familiar with using water, as a leveling device, and that is how the Egyptians built the pyramids. It's not just a cup of water. They used to chisel troughs into the top of their stone. They also had an A-frame level, which is one of the first measuring devices, and you didn't need the water for it. It was, imagine having an A-frame, 2 sticks of identical length, and then a cross member. And then your plumb line, which is a weighted string, and this is an ingenious and very simple way of determining a perfectly vertical line. You attach that plumb exactly to the center, and you calibrate it so that there are marks on your cross brace, so that when you set your A-frame down, if it is one way or the other too high, you know how to alter your base to get back to level. A French scientist who realized that you could put water inside of a little glass tube and leave a little bit of air and there's a bubble, and if you could just make that bubble go dead center, that was a really handy way of measuring levelness. The problem was it froze. You needed a way for the bubble to stay bubbly even in sub-freezing temperatures, and so he filled it with the spirits. And although I couldn't find any reputable sources that it was actually whiskey, it could have been. So these were called whiskey sticks or spirit levels. There were other ways that they had of leveling roads, like taking 2 sticks of identical length and then doing reference points and holding them out and then pulling a string very tight across the top of them and then having a 3rd stick, and you just go along the rope, and if it hits anywhere, then that's where you dig out, and that's how you make level roads. They had primitive transits, which are those things you see the survey guys, survey people alongside the road when you see the thing on the tripod and they're looking through it, and that's a transit level, and I don't really know how to use them. I just kind of know how they work, and they were originally made really simple, something anyone can do. Basically a pole with a plus sign of sticks on top, and there were plumb lines coming off all 4 of those corners plus 1 off the very center of it, so that when you set the pole into the ground and you looked along it, you had your 2 plumbs out here, and then you had 1 in front of you and 1 beyond it in front of you, and also 1 off the center. So you had 3 lines, and then you had someone go way out there, and you lined up all 3 lines with the person. And ideally, if you did that in both directions, you could have a really fairly accurate long straight line. Then you do the same thing with the other 2 lines. And that's how they marked out Roman encampments, I think. What are those things called? Agroma. That was called agroma. And another really easy way of measuring that I'm going to do here with a piece of string is a triangle. Bless trigonometry. If you dig way back to your classes, you might remember that a 3, 4, 5 triangle is a right triangle. So anything that measures units 3, 4, 5 is going to be a right triangle. So that's what I've done here with my business card. This is 5 of my business cards long, 4 of my business cards long, and 3 of my business cards long, noted by knots. I'm going to hook one on my finger, hold this one. Oh, I didn't think this through. My hands weren't long enough, so I got one of the knots in my teeth. Cool, huh? You measure it out, you have 3 people go out, now you've got a perfect right triangle. Now you can set posts, transfer that one over, and you've got a square. And you can use the 3, 4, 5 square to calibrate your tools that you're going to use to calibrate your other tools. I know I'm missing some steps in between, but my mind's doing the thing. Yeah, bubble levels were called spirit levels, or whiskey sticks. They're still called whiskey sticks today because they didn't want them to freeze.